Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hard Nine podcast. Today is July the 8th, 2024, and the Cardinals return home after a 5-2 road trip, and even better, taking 3 or 4 from the Nets. Because, as you said, usually the four-game series, very much like kissing your sister, where you go home 2-2.
That's gross. Um, yeah, it was. I mean, they've had a really good, not, I mean, 2 months of baseball, but especially the last week. Any road trip you go on where you come back and you're 4-2, like that's a really good road trip. So I've been impressed. And I think the way they're playing right now is more sustainable than the way they were playing a couple weeks ago when they were playing well. So everything's been pretty good outside of maybe some blow up starts here and there. But I've been impressed with the offense. That's the main thing I think are going to talk about today.
48 and 42, 7-3 over their last 10. If you look up, only 4.5 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers. And also right currently in that second wild card spot in the National League. Um, I will continue to say it. I know that they have proved me wrong for 90 games. I still believe this Cardinals team is better than that Brewers team. I just believe that. And I know that the Cardinals got off to a rough start, and I understand all that has happened. You get Newt back. Riley O'Brien is starting a rehab assignment. Tommy Edman is starting a rehab assignment. We've seen signs of Nato and Gorman and Goldie hit this weekend. Wilson, even though you know that he's not healthy, the dude is constantly banged up, continues to hit. I just feel like what we've really seen with Brendan Donovan and Alec Burleson and Mason Wynn, it just gives you, I mean, that outside of Yelich, that Brewers lineup just still does not scare me, and neither does that pitching staff.
Yeah, well, Contreras is obviously really good over there too, but no, I don't think the Brewers are all that good. They've played well to this point, so we'll see. I haven't looked at their strength of schedule um for the second half of the season, so who knows? But it doesn't feel like they've played a very hard schedule to start the year. Maybe it's just because they made it look easy. I don't know. But yeah, I think I
Hmm.
mean, 4.5 games, you're right in it. Like one bad series from the Brewers this week and another good series from the Cardinals, and we could be going to the All-Star break and they could be 2 games out. Like that's how
Correct.
close they are right now. And I didn't think we'd get there by the All-Star break or even maybe at all this season based on the way things were going, but it's been impressive.
You have to give massive kudos to Pat Murphy over there. You also have to give kudos to their GM who goes out and brings in Dallas Keuchel and Aaron Savali when he sees a need. Those guys, I'm not saying that's your top rotation guys, but that is doing something to help your team at a time when they need it. Aaron Savali can be a decent pitcher. I think Dallas
Yeah, he's
Keuchel
fine.
is probably not what Dallas Keuchel used to be, but either way, that is still going out and helping your team when you need it. Like you have to give him credit on that one. Um, Look, let's talk a little bit. We don't have to go too deep into the Pirates and the National Series outside of the offense really, really clicking. Um, Seeing Arenado pull the ball has to make you feel good. With
Yeah, just hitting
authority.
the ball.
Sorry, with authority.
Just hit the ball hard. Like I don't think he's gonna be the guy that hits 30 home runs and they're all pulled fly balls anymore. Like I don't think he has that in him anymore. But if he can be a guy that's batting 270 like he is and just tap into a little bit more power, maybe he hit 20 home runs this year instead of like what he's on pace for is like 14. That'd be huge. Like that's what he needs to do is have a big second half and just help the team out. Like there was weeks where I felt like he wasn't doing anything. Like he wasn't fielding particularly well. He wasn't even getting his singles. And honestly, today he was over, but I thought like some of his swings, he was doing that thing where he was barely missing fly balls to the pole side and then flying out to the middle of the outfield, but he just missed them. Earlier this season, he wasn't just missing anything. He was rolling everything over. He was hitting everything weakly. He's getting to a decent spot. But he had an interesting comment over the weekend where he said, "I'm just trying to get to the All-Star break and hope that a tide is turning when I get there." That's what he wants to do. Now I don't know if this weekend has done that for him, but he's getting closer. It looks like to being, even maybe I'll take 75% of what we've seen from him, um, what we've seen from him over the years. Like that would be great.
100%. Also, nice to see Goldie go yard today.
He
Hit
crushed
a
that
couple
ball.
balls hard over the weekend. At times it still looks bad, but boy, you got to hope that maybe he's finding a little something right now.
He still hits the ball so hard. Like he crushes the ball. Problem is he's hitting it straight to the ground every time. Like that's been
Yes.
his thing. Um, I don't know. I'm really concerned about his ability to slug. He hasn't had a month this year, a singular month. discounting the 3 days in March. I'm not counting that. Where he slugged over 400, not 1 month. He needs to slug over 400 for the year and well over 400. So it's concerning. He was slugging 359 coming into today. Obviously, I would assume the home run and the single helped him quite a bit. But he needs to slug. Like, honestly, I'd be okay if he's batting. I mean, the problem is he's batting 220 and not slugging. At least Arenado's batting 270 and not slugging. Like, he's got to do one of the two. But yeah, I mean, that's encouraging though. Like, to see him take a lefty deep, especially, like, he's a guy that is historically great against left-handed pitching. Not just like great for an average player, like one of the best of all time against left-handed pitching. So that was nice to see because he's been really bad this year against them.
I'm 50 years old. Your memory is better than mine, but I do not ever remember having a 4-game series as a Cardinal fan where you faced all 4 lefty starting pitchers. It's probably happened. Somebody's going to tell me that it happened in 1984 against the Giants or something like that. However, I do not ever remember it being a thing. That was wild. And honestly, you missed Jake Irvin, who's probably their best pitcher. Like, who is their best pitcher?
No, Mackenzie Gore is their best pitcher.
Irvin has been better.
He's not better than Mackenzie Gore. Okay, I mean, we can nitpick.
He is, but okay.
Okay, I don't agree. Either way, yeah, and the thing that was impressive about that, yeah, that's crazy. But the thing that was impressive about them winning 3 or 4 is they were coming into the series just straight bad against left-handed pitching. They'd come off of a bad performance against Martin Perez, who, no offense to him, not good anymore. He's had a couple good seasons, but this year he's been awful. And just they'd been looked lifeless against left-handed pitching. And the thing that's been the most impressive is I think the lefties, the left-handed hitters in this lineup, are the reason they had success this series.
Right.
Burleson, Gorman, Donovan, those guys take really good at bats against left-handed pitchers. Newpart took some good at bats today against left-handed pitchers. We'll probably talk about him in a little bit just because he's back. But yeah, I was impressed. And obviously Arenado going, but I think he had 9 hits this weekend. Gorman was 9 for 15. Like you said, 4 left-handed starters, and he had a 9 for 15 weekend. That's huge.
Yeah, we brought that up at the beginning. I was going to ask you about that, but you went ahead and beat me to it. Seeing him drive the ball the other way. I mean, when you start to see him do that, he's still out in front too often. Don't get me wrong. But there are times where, like, when you see him sit back and drive the ball, now that double he got, that's a gift. But that's what you need. You need those gifts when you're struggling. And when things start to turn, you get those kind of things to fall in. You know that.
I also think with Gorman, like, I'm okay with him pulling off of a pitch and at bat and trying to crush it. Because if he gets it, he's going to crush it. You know, like, that's fine. I don't need him to take perfect swings trying to go the other way every at bat. Like, if he gets a pitch he likes and he wants to pull it, then go for it. Like, a lot of times he connects and it looks good because he hit it. It's a home run, but that's exactly what the swing would look like if he missed, was pulling off of it. So that's fine. Like, I'm okay with that. And also he's very good situationally, at least when he's going. When he's bad, he's just bad in general. But when he's going, like that at bat when he drove in Goldie to extend the lead the other day, he just stood back. He just hung back and took it the other way. Like, he wasn't trying to do too much. When he's up there and nobody's on base, then yeah, he's going to try to do too much sometimes.
That was the thing that was also nice to see in this series, and not as much to an extent in Pittsburgh because that's sort of an odd series, but to see the Cardinals extend leads, and not have to. I mean, Helsley only pitched once. Helsley only pitched once, and yeah, that's what you like to see. By the way, just for clarification's sake here, Mackenzie Gore is 6-7 with a 3.83 ERA and a 1.44 WHIP. Jake Irvin is 7-6 with a 2.8 ERA and a 1 WHIP. So I'm not saying he's not
having a better season. I'm saying I don't think he's better. That's what I said.
I said their best pitcher this year.
I thought you just said best pitcher. Either way, that's either way. We don't need to go back to argue about the Nationals.
I do feel like what if we need to? Maybe we do.
I don't think we do. I'm trying to do some calculations here real quick.
Go ahead. Hey, watch out. Kale's going to take his socks off here in a minute.
All right, here we go. No, I'm not. Here we go. So the Cardinals this series, 49 hits in 4 games. Well, that's huge. That's averaging just over 12 hits a game.
12.25 if you want to be exact.
They hit and it wasn't like one game they had 20, and other games they had 6, 7, 8. They had over 10 in every game, 11 or more in every game. I think it was 11, 11, 14, and something. I don't know the rest of the math there, but whatever. It was something like that. They had, by the way, 49 hits, like, that's huge. They had 2 games this series where everyone in their lineup got a hit. Michael Ciani looks great everywhere right now, honestly.
But I want to get to that in a little bit.
But they've been that was a really good series to see, especially against left-handed pitching, and especially the guys that were doing it. Arenado was contributing. Goldie had some really rough moments in this series. especially when big spots with guys in scoring position. But still, today, like he gave you a massive lead and he had another single. And then Gorman and Arenado, the Nolans, as I like to call them, those two are so important for the second half of the season. Just like we know, they're both streaky hitters, but they've got to be less streaky and they've got to just be better in general. So it was nice to see. Like this is what you get if you get Arenado and Gorman hitting. This is what your lineup can do. Like Goldie, we just don't know with him. He's at the age now where it's reasonable to say he's probably not going to find what he had even last year. Like he might be solid, but I don't think he's gonna be great. Maybe not even good. Arenado and Gorman can be good. I still believe that. And we saw what that looks like when those two are. You need production from those two. And we always talk about how important the corners are, third and first base, because those are the big power production. The good news about having a second baseman that can hit 40 home runs is he can take over and make it so your first baseman doesn't have to be that because you have
Correct.
a second baseman that's being it. So I think those two are just massively important, and we saw that all series.
Just a couple things. Shout out to Hell's Cardinal record for saves before the All-Star break. 32, 31. 31.
He's at 32. No, 31
Okay.
because he blew that one.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that's Fugazi. I'm
That's
sorry.
stupid, yeah.
That should not count as a blown save.
But it kind of has to. It's just the rule is dumb.
Okay, here, let me say this. It doesn't have to. If you're not going to count it as an earned run, then you don't have to count it as a blown save. That's
But I
what I'll
also
say.
say that I don't think we would give a shit if he didn't have a record. I mean, a streak on the line.
Yeah, I agree, but it does. I mean, those are guys who go into negotiating like that. You negotiate with those numbers,
and they do.
Like,
and Haters has spoken a lot about how they value saves.
absolutely, like that's a negotiating tool for a closer, and I think that's Fugazi for the major league for the Manfred man to count against a blown save.
I also
Either way,
kind of think just as even if this happens in the ninth inning, I think if you blow it, fine, count as a blown save if you want to. But I do think if you come back out the next inning and then you save the game again, maybe that one should count as a save because you
that's
did
a
the same
win.
thing.
They call
You
that a
just
win,
came.
bud.
Well, that happens rarely though. You know what I mean? Like most of the times,
Right.
closers don't come back out. That was
Correct.
such a weird situation. He also, like to be fair, didn't pitch well in that inning. Like he kind of deserved
No,
that.
he
He got
didn't.
completely bailed out by
Yeah, he
a
did.
line drive right to Nolan Gorman. So
Yeah.
like as much as it sucks that that's the way it was blown, and we saw the way the rest of the inning played out, he did not pitch well. So
Bullpen top 5 in Major League Baseball since I believe it's the middle of May. Should have looked at the date maybe a little harder when I was
probably
reading
like
the article.
Mother's Day. It's probably what
I think
it
it's
was.
around that area, but top 5. They might even be top 4 now. As that because I did write that stat down a couple days ago. Look, here's the thing: Ryan Fernandez has become what Gio was for years to this team, and maybe I mean, then you also add in Kittredge and JoJo. That's a fearsome foursome at the back. And to be fair, John Keane hasn't been bad, and they still have no clue how to use Matthew Liberatore. Hopefully they figure that one out. But I still believe maybe another arm would not hurt them in the bullpen. I think a lot of people are going to believe that. However,
team, I think, yeah.
that agreed 100%. But those 4 have really cemented themselves for Ali to be able to mix and match. That's so big than having 2 or 3 at a time.
Yeah, and before we move on from Ryan Helsley, all-star, like he's an all-star. Like we also need.
I wanted to get to that in a little bit, but yeah, we could go ahead and talk about that.
I figured since we were talking about Ryan Helsley,
sure.
Like congratulations, second all-star. I don't know the list of people, closers that were an all-star multiple times for the Cardinals. I would assume Rosenthal probably did it. I would assume Lee Smith and probably Jason Isringhausen, but it can't be a long list, so that's pretty cool. To have
Bruce
him be
Sutter, maybe.
Probably, oh, definitely, yeah. So I would say those. It's a pretty cool list. I would imagine if you went and looked at it, of who's done it. So he'll join that list of multiple all stars as a closer. That's pretty cool. And also, he's just great. I love Ryan Helsley. I'm a big fan. What I was getting to though is while he's the all star, Brian Fernandez has been the best reliever in this bullpen, hands down.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't even think it's close. Like Helsley's save streak has been so important that I can't say like he has been the most valuable because I think he has. But what Ryan Fernandez is doing, the guy doesn't give, knock on wood, doesn't allow runs. He just doesn't. Whether they're inherited runners or it's his own runners, he just doesn't give up runs. And there was a stretch there around the beginning of May where he really looked like he was starting to fall off, and they were using him too much, and it looked like he was going to start kind of giving up a bunch of runs. And then he just like got better. Like he could have been the relief pitcher of the month in June over Ryan Helsley, and no one would have batted an eye.
Oh, 100%. Also, by the way, would like to apologize. But thank you for all those who listen. Hey, we're almost the 700 number. Next up, 800. Please hit that subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate that. If you're on Apple or Spotify, hit the follow. Thank you. All of a sudden, the numbers on Spotify way bigger than I thought they were. So thank you guys who listen on Spotify. Greatly appreciate all of you all. Granillo, I kept asking what is the deal with him. Found out he was hurt. Probably should have known that. Like that feels like that's on me. But now he is back, so hopefully maybe they gets his footing. That could be another guy that is an option if there isn't a trade possibility out there. Maybe. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying that's an option
Yeah,
that
I mean,
you
he's
could
definitely an
potentially,
option. Yeah,
as is Riley O'Brien. Like you
he's
got
coming
those
back.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
can I be honest? I think the biggest surprise to me this year, outside of negative surprises that I don't want to talk about, the biggest like positive surprise for me this year is the quality of the innings that these guys that are from Memphis that we weren't even talking about at the beginning of the year have given them out of the bullpen. Roycroft has been awesome. Kyle Leahy, I mean, he had some bad innings, but he was really important there. When they started to get rolling, he was pitching big innings. Um, John King's been really good. As much as I don't believe that he is actually this good, I believe he can be fake good for a year. I've seen that with TJ McFarland. Um, so it's been really impressive the way those guys have come up, and
fake
they've all
good.
really done a good job. Like there hasn't been anyone that's come up, and other than John King against Max Muncy, which when I thought he should be DFA'd, this first his first appearance of the year, that's come up and really done a bad job. They've all been really good. So that's a massive improvement to the minor leagues, where it feels like most years we call people up and they either suck or we just don't have anyone to call up.
I love that you called him fake good. Poor TJ. There was no need for that. He didn't deserve those
He was
ricochets.
fake. Did you watch him in 2022?
He was good.
By the way, want to hear a fun fact? He leads the Oakland A's in appearances this year, and he has a 3.8 ERA.
There you go.
That's
Not fake good. That's
wild.
good.
He is fake good. He's in the minor leagues all year last year. It's fake. It's
Let's
luck, is what
talk.
it is.
Let's talk a little bit about the rotation. Um, Not a great showing except for Miles, by the way.
Awesome.
I'd love to give him his flowers, but now we know if I do that, what'll happen next time. So I'm just going to say, great job, Miles. That's all I'm going to
Can I
say.
give him his flowers then?
Absolutely, you can. I can't because I have some bad juju on Miles that I don't want to put out there.
So Brad Thompson talked a lot on the broadcast about him changing his arm angle when he throws his sinker, and also changing, I think, a little bit of his grip because it was just too flat and it was getting killed. His sinker looked as good as I've seen it since 2022 today. He was freezing. He was doing that. He was freezing people for strikeouts, like freezing lefties when it was coming back over. He hasn't done that all year, so that was really impressive. Like that's something where you have, like we always talk about this, you want a tangible reason for him being better, other than just hard hit balls at people that don't find holes this game. So that's really important. Also, Michael Ciani did save his ass like 5 times because that guy just is a wizard in center field. But he looked way better. His
Whoa.
stuff looked way
You're
better.
going to get a lot of hate mail for calling him a wizard.
I said he's a wizard, not the wizard.
Well, there are a lot of people who probably did not understand that you used a instead of the. So just so you know.
I mean, Michael Ciani at this rate might have more outs above average than Ozzie Smith ever did in the season, if I'm
Um,
being honest. But
yeah,
yeah, I think
Miles
he's
was
been
great.
really good.
Miles was
Yeah,
great
go ahead.
today. Like absolutely fantastic.
Hey,
And
no, you can't.
oh, that's true. But I did put a tweet out that said we needed him to be big. He was big. That's all I can say.
He was really good. I thought Kyle Gibson, as much as his stat line looks mediocre, I thought he looked really good too. That's 2 starts in a row where he had some really good strikeout stuff going, and then just ran into an inning where he got kind of it just got away from him a little bit. Where
Well, the
balls were
Pirates,
finding holes.
literally the Pirates, they broke it down. He made one bad pitch. That was a 3-run homer he gave
Right.
up.
Yeah, and
And then
that's what can happen when you're a guy that pitches to contact a lot. And he was striking people out, but you get 2 balls that maybe aren't hit too hard that find holes, and then you're one bad pitch away from it being 5 innings 3 earned instead of 5 innings 1.
yeah, he gave up the second home run to Pittsburgh, but it was actually on a pretty good pitch. The guy just, I mean, sometimes they beat you. All right, let's talk a little bit about Lance because I mean, you look at Twitter and people like are gonna think it's 2023 Adam Wainwright. It's not. But are you concerned? Like, obviously, it's so weird. He's so weird. I think there's a few things that I want to say, and then I want to get your take. He was so good last outing, so good
Mhm.
last outing. When you needed him
Against the
to
Braves,
be,
right?
yes, when you needed him to be, he was great. He was terrible against Washington. They obviously were hunting fastballs early and got him. In that game where he gives up 11 runs, in a normal situation, Lance Lynn would have not been even left in to give up 11 runs. That's what I believe. But in that situation, after you had come off the extra inning win the night
3 extra
before,
inning games in a row.
correct, he had to eat it, and he did, and he didn't. I mean, whatever. But I
Mhm.
do believe that Ollie, in a normal situation, is not leaving Lance Lynn out there to give up 11 runs. But
No.
good for Lance to eat it. I mean, that happens every once in a while. It's going to happen with Lance Lynn. He gives up home runs. He Again, I'll say it again. If he's at the back end, I don't think Lance Lynn should be and you know how much I love him. But if you get into the playoffs, Lance Lynn's probably not one of your 3 starters. That's all I will say.
No, it needs to be Sonny Gray needs to be one of your top two, probably one, but we'll see what they do at the deadline. And Kyle Gibson needs to be your three, and you need to find
Yes,
a two. That's what they need to do.
I agree.
But and honestly, here's the problem that I'm running into, and like Lance, whatever. Mo said that he thinks it was because of the heat, which basically saying Lance Lynn's not in the best shape of any human that's ever played, and that heat affected him. But what if they get a starter, which I believe they will? I don't know what tier they're going to get. I think they're going to get somebody. It's going to be real tough to look at Andre Palante if he keeps doing this and say you're out, Lance is still in. It's going
I
to be tough.
agree. I
And like
agree.
injuries and stuff, obviously, knock on wood, but that normally figures that out. Like we talked about at the beginning of the season, how tough it was going to be to get Alec Burleson on the opening day roster. He's batted second for 2 months. So obviously things figure themselves out. But in the event they don't, like Andre Palante is not a guy I'm taking my rotation right now, unless you get two guys that are way better than him, which I don't think they're gonna do. So I don't know. I still think Lance is gonna be fine. He's gonna give you really bad games. He's gonna give you some really good games. I think most of them are gonna be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I'm intrigued when Kyle and Kareem come on. I think that's after the draft. We decided right now, right? We're gonna have
Yeah.
them this week, but due to schedule conflicts, we're gonna do it after the draft, which makes way more sense because getting them on to speculate not nearly as cool as getting them on to talk about who we actually got.
When
But
Chase Burns is a Cardinal.
I am intrigued to get their thoughts because those are guys who've watched Palante come all the way up the system, and just
Mhm.
what is he doing to be successful now versus like what is different and how do they view it as people who have kind of tracked him all the way through the minor leagues to where he is right now. What are your thoughts on that? You might know. I'm
I mean, the biggest thing is he's has a sinker that he's locating. That's hard. Like he's throwing it hard, and he's like we've all seen this. He's been bad against righties. It's no secret why they hang out over the plate because everything he was throwing them was moving to the left. So they weren't having to stay. They weren't having to honor anything inside because he wasn't locating it inside, and he didn't really have anything. He's been throwing a sinker that honestly doesn't move all that much, but he's been locating it on the inner corner and throwing it hard. You throw 97 inside, I don't care how much it moves. They don't want to hang out over that because if it hits him, it's going to hurt.
right.
So I think that's a big thing. Also, his stuff just plays. He has a good curveball. He has a really good slider at times, and his fastball is weird. It just moves different. Like they talk about this all the time. He has a fastball that just misses barrels. It gets off the end of the bat. And he's also just not walking as many people as he normally does. You can't walk people if you're a contact pitcher, and that's what he was doing for a long time.
Well, there you go. Screw Kareem and Kyle.
Well, they probably have more data on it that I don't have nor understand.
And do you have any concern on Sonny? He didn't look great the other day. I didn't think.
No concern at all, other than the fact that he's not an all-star, which is stupid. No, I have zero concern about Sonny Gray at all.
It was probably the four jerseys he went through. Man, Fanatics, can we get this figured out? We got to get
It
this
was
figured.
bad. It was
This is
bad this
embarrassing,
weekend.
bro. If
Did you
you
see
are the
Miles
if
today?
if you are the makers of these jerseys, you should be as embarrassed as you've ever been. And
They
this
did
is
say they're
sad.
changing him for next year, but
Well, they'll get them in. Don't worry, they'll have them ready by June. Just like the Cardinals can never get their
yeah,
powder blues on time anyway. This is Fanatics. Figure it the fuck out. This is ridiculous.
yeah, it's ridiculous. But
Few
let's get back
things.
on Sonny for a second
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I think the thing that's frustrating to me is he went through that little bit of a stretch. I get was that early June, late May, around there where he wasn't very good, around that Baltimore series. And he said that what he was getting away from was throwing. What he was going to do was just throw strikes and let his stuff play because he has great stuff. We all know that. And what he was doing was nibbling and walking people or getting into 3-1 counts where guys could sit on things, and it wasn't going well. He's doing it again, and he'd fix that problem. He just needs to throw strikes. Like he's going to give up some homers just because he's a pitcher in Major League Baseball, and that's what happens.
Right.
But his stuff is so good that if he just throws the ball, aims it down the middle, and lets it sink and cut and do whatever it does, he's going to be very good. So obviously, I'm not worried about him. Like he's not, knock on wood, he's not. Doesn't look like he's dealing with anything. His velo's not down. He'll be fine.
We can look back on it now because it didn't cost them. It didn't cost them in the game at all. With a little laugh, but Donnie forgetting that there was a Manfred man on second base in Pittsburgh was like you could Michael Ciani like
Yeah,
screaming at him, throw the
Yeah.
ball in, and Donnie was like so happy he caught it and so relieved. Again, didn't matter. Like it legit did that. That is there are very few plays in baseball that don't matter. That is one that did not matter.
Can I also be honest with you? In that situation, and this isn't a good thing. Like he shouldn't do that. You understand why it happened. It's the first inning out of an inning. So if it's the first half of an inning, normally that is what he's gonna do. He's just gonna catch it and throw it in because there's no one on base. It's not what happened. But in that situation, when you're up when you're up two in extra innings, that run means nothing. And I feel more comfortable with guys pitching with nobody on base than a guy on third. So I didn't even hate it that much. But yeah, that was bad. But like Donnie, we know Donnie. He doesn't do that. Like he's not a guy that
No.
has issues with anything like that. So it's whatever. Like things like that happen.
Couple things as far as let's talk a little bit about the catching depth. Ollie made the comments about the potential to carry three catchers, which gave me an absolute aneurysm of a headache. Um, you and I talked about this off the air, off camera, but I just don't get it. I don't like. I'm sorry. Again, I will go back to this roster creation that it seems like they might be the worst in Major League Baseball at, and I cannot figure out at all. Look, if you want to keep Herrera, then Pages should be at AAA. And if you want to keep Pages, because he has been pretty good defensively, and also, by the way,
Really good.
very clutch.
He's
Everything
also
else not
very
very
good
great,
defensively.
but very clutch. Then that's fine. Then let Herrera go down and play every day at AAA. The idea that you're just going to keep both of them on the bench is asinine because they're not going to DH, and they're only going to be in there to. I mean, they're just. It just makes no sense
Well, no, hold
unless
on.
you're
Herrera would DH. That's not true.
over who.
Herrera would DH. I don't know what the matchups would be, but Herrera, like he was DHing when he was healthy. Like,
I
so we
understand
can't
that,
say he won it. And
but
also, here's the
Newton.
thing: if okay, but here's the thing. One, for being fair, Ollie didn't say they're going to do it. He said it's an option.
I understand.
Also, they're not going to have all of them up if he doesn't want to DH one of them. He's not going to do that.
Let me
So
ask you this.
if he
I'll
doesn't
ask
want to
again.
DH them, he won't have him up.
They're not going to play Newton center field. So you've got Donnie, Ciani, and Newton in the outfield. That makes Burley your DH. When are who, by the way, all of those guys hit lefties well. When are you DHing Ivan Herrera over any one of those guys? When?
Well, your spot would be if there's an off day for somebody. That'd be when.
Okay, so that's
I'm just
once
saying,
a
like,
week. That's once a week,
if
Caleb.
you're a team and you're saying, and if you're Ollie and you're saying, okay, we want a Herrera to DH every day when there's a lefty, or catch and have Wilson DH. If that's your plan, then the way you'd go about it is when you give guys off days, it's going to be against lefties. That's
I
what you would do.
understand that, but
So
just
that's
looking
be
it
the
up,
way if they do it. I don't think
I
they're going
think
to do
the
that though.
Cardinals have faced almost 80% right-handers this year, and you just faced four
Yeah,
lefties. So again, I will ask, like that there is zero reason to have two catchers who you're trying to develop, at least one of them, sitting on the bench 8 out of 10 games.
that's not fair because Pedro's been playing a
Oh,
lot.
that's okay. So keep two of them. That's what I'm saying.
Well, then I'm a little bit confusing because Pedro's been playing so much and Wilson's been DHing a lot that then there you go. They would just replace those names
But
with Herrera, but obviously with Newt back, it changes things. I get it.
bingo,
Well, I don't know the
bingo.
answer. I don't think they're going to do that though. I don't.
It's just
I mean,
bad.
I could be wrong,
Do you think
but I
they're
don't think
scared to
so.
death to drop or to cut Brandon Crawford?
No, I also don't think they should right now until Tommy's back because they need a backup shortstop.
Oh, I
And they don't
agree with
have one.
that. I'm just saying,
I think
like,
what it is also a little bit is Ollie doesn't want to play his hand or to say, oh no, we're calling Herrera up and sending Pajes down while Pajes is still on the team. If
I
that's what they're
understand
gonna
it.
do.
That's a really
So
good point right there.
why would you do that? There's no reason to. So if someone asks you, is that an option? Of course you're gonna say yes. You don't want Pedro to know he's gonna leave soon, or you don't want Ivan Herrera, who's honestly was really good when he was healthy, and then is rehabbing to know that if once he's done, he's gonna stay in AAA.
I think that's a very good point. So that put my mind a little bit more at ease over this because I get last year when we carried three catchers, I literally wanted to bang my head on the wall.
Yeah, but that was obviously just the dumbest situation of all time. So I didn't want to get into that.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's
But
talk a
okay,
little.
also
Okay.
there was one more thing I wanted to get into. And now I forgot it. Never mind, go ahead.
Well, there you go.
It's gone.
Let's talk about the outfield because I think
Oh,
this
there
is
you
going
go.
to get really freaking interesting in the next couple weeks. Okay. You have sat here and you have told me every day that when Tommy comes back, he's your starting center fielder. I don't know that I believe you anymore. Like, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I understand that this isn't a Wally Pip, Lou Gehrig situation because I don't believe that Michael Ciani is going to be Lou Gehrig. All right.
You never know.
However, well, that is true.
They call him
That is
Iron
true.
Mike.
I don't know how. I don't know that Tommy Edman is significantly better in any facet of the game, baseball wise, than what Michael Ciani is producing right now.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
Well, what here? Listen, you got him coming off an injury. He hasn't played a baseball game in a long time. So
Okay,
why
but
would you
okay, but
thrust?
that's
Hold
more
on.
fair to say
See,
after
don't
an
interrupt.
injury.
Why
But
would you thrust him automatically back into the starting role in center field when Ciani is literally saving you runs every night out there? Could
he's
Tommy?
a
Potentially. We don't know. We know that Ciani is.
here's the problem with what you just said is you're assuming he's going to be worse. And maybe that's not a unfair assumption. Here's the thing, Dad. You cannot tell me, okay, like he's a better defensive center fielder, Michael Gianni by far. It's not even close. But if you're gonna say he's not better at anything, Tommy Edman had 41 doubles in a season. Don't come here and tell
What
me that
season?
Michael Ciani is not better at any singular thing than Tommy Edman. That's
What
stupid.
season?
2021. 2022 had
That's
31 doubles.
we're almost
Fine.
3.5 years removed from that.
2022, he had 31 doubles. Last year, he had 30.
Okay. Look, I get it.
So that's what he's better at. There it is.
All I'm saying is I don't think like you do that it's so cut and dry. Now, what I do like is what you said about the platoon. I think that's a very valid point, which brings me to my final point. What happens to Dylan Carlson?
I don't care.
You can't do that. That can't be your answer. Okay.
It is. It is. He's made me not care. That's my answer. Dylan, you've played so bad for 2 years that you've made me stop caring about if you're on this team. But tomorrow, I don't care. I'm mad about Tommy Edman still. Tommy Edman has slugged over 380 the last 3 years. Last year, 399, where he was hurt and still hit 30 doubles. He had 13 home runs last year. So how many triples did he have? 4. So he had 4, 17. What's 17 plus 47? He had 47 extra base hits last year. And you're going to sit here and say there's not one singular thing he's better at than Michael Ciani.
I apologize.
What are you talking about?
You know that I speak hyperbolically.
But that's what bothers me is if you can get a 30% increase in offensive production and you get a 10% decrease in defensive production, that's a 20% better player.
I think my thing is, I guess also to be fair to Tommy and to everybody involved, we have to see how the rehab goes, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but injuries are obviously a concern, but you can't just Wally Pippen because of injuries.
But I also think it is naive to assume that he's going to slide right back into that player that he was last year.
And I'm not saying he will,
but
it's also unfair to assume that he's not.
So, because
it's equally unfair to assume he's going to be bad.
I agree. That's valid. And I'm not saying he's going to be bad. That's not what I meant. Please understand. I wasn't saying he was going to be bad, but I think it's going to be hard to not have Michael Ciani in center field a lot of the days.
I agree.
That's all.
I 100% agree with that. I agree. I think Michael Ciani's done everything he can to earn the center field spot for the rest of the year.
Yeah, let me ask you that. Hold on. I'm glad you said that because we talk a lot. Think about when was the last Cardinal that you can remember who got an opportunity at this young of an age or first opportunity in the big leagues, essentially, and grabbed it like Michael Ciani has. Like, can you remember one, honestly? I guess, is that it in 21? I mean, is that it?
20. He was really good in 2022.
20. Okay. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, we talk quite often about, hey, you've got a chance. How many times can we give you, you're getting your chance, do something with it? Michael Ciani has done something with it.
Jeremy Hazelbaker might be the answer. He's been really, and I don't mean to say like I think he's not been great, and I think he's so good defensively that you almost have to find a place to put him. Because today, like, let's be honest, I don't know how that game goes if he doesn't make those 2 catches in the first inning.
Agreed.
I know it doesn't look like the way it looked. I know it wouldn't have been 6-0. It would have at least been 6-2. And obviously, like, you don't know how Miles goes. If he has to throw more pitches, like they could have easily lost today if he's not in center field. And I don't think Tommy Edman catches those 2 balls. So I will agree with you on that. But I just don't know how you bring Tommy Edman back, who is also just a great Cardinal, and he's been so good.
I agree.
He is legitimately, like, coming to this year, if you would have said Ciani, Tommy Edman, who's starting in center field, and anyone argued Ciani, you'd be crazy. I don't know how you send him to the bench.
Okay, then here's where I'm going to argue with you on is the idea of keeping 3 catchers so that you can DH Herrera. Let's utilize
Tommy Edman. I wanted to do that.
Hold on. Let's utilize Tommy Edman in that role to give people days off. That's what I would do. Not Ivan Herrera or Pedro Paez. That's what I'm saying.
Here's the problem with that is once again we go over the 80% left-handed pitching thing. 80% right-handed pitchers they're facing. You're not giving Gorman a day off to have Tommy Edman hitting this spot.
No, but you might against your lefty in that week.
So he's playing 1.5 times a week on average.
No, I think you can give Mason Wynn a day off. I think you can give Arenado a DH role if you need to. I think there's options there. You can give Michael Ciani a day off.
Yeah, but here's the thing that when you're in the second half, you're up against it. Like you're trying to win every game. You're putting your best lineup out there. You're not just giving guys days off every day.
Hold on. We've seen Tampa Bay do it. We've seen other teams do it where they have a rotation. I think the Cardinals can have a rotation with 10 or 11 guys to where you can keep guys fresh. Well, Tony did it all the time. And he did it down the stretch even in 2011 when he needed to by keeping guys like Aaron Miles. Is it Aaron Miles? Was he on that team? Is that who I'm thinking of? Ryan Terrio? Is that right?
Yeah,
Am I
but
on the?
Tommy Edmonds a better player than Skip Schumacher was.
I understand. What I'm saying is, though, I think you can get Tommy 15 at bats a week and Michael Ciani 15 at bats. That's all I'm saying. Is I
If you're,
think if
I don't
you
know.
have to be
I
smart.
don't know.
You have to be
I
able
don't
to
know what they
like.
do. I don't know what they do. Like I don't, because I think Michael Ciani has to be in center field, and that's where I've come around to. Like, honest, I think Tommy Edman would give you more production. But hold
Oh,
on, no, I was mad that you said that there was not a singular thing he was better at because that was
okay.
stupid,
I told
and I
you I
wanted
spoke
that gone.
hyperbolically. I apologize to
Yeah, it was
Tommy for that.
awful. But I,
Yeah,
I
that was
think
wrong.
the watching today's game, like, and obviously just the whole last month, it's hard for me to say that Michael Ciani shouldn't be in center field. I
Okay.
still think if you give me a 1-for-1 who I think is going to provide more value to the team if they're playing, I think Tommy Edman provides more value.
Okay.
But it's difficult to take Ciani out of that role. That is a hard conversation to have if you're doing that.
In my
I don't.
mind, Tommy Edmond becomes your super sub who plays 3 to 4 games a week. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
But that's if they okay. So if they face 5 righties in a week, he can't play 3 games a week. You
No, but he can
cannot
play
start.
2.
You can he?
Yeah, absolutely. You could give Siani, you could give him a night off,
You know how
and you could give
frustrating that's
Mason
going to
Wynn a
be.
night off. There you go.
True. Yeah, you could. Yeah, that's.
So yes,
I
you
mean,
could.
yeah. And also, once again, we talk about injuries. It'll work itself out.
Well,
Like,
let's hope
knock
not. But
on wood,
yes,
but the odds of every single position player being healthy the rest of the year is very low.
I think that's where Ollie's going to have to be creative, and that's why carrying 3 catchers is just absolutely asinine to me. If Tommy Edmond is back, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and so we're talking. Yeah, I agree. So we're talking about what we think. What do you think they're going to do?
I think that's what they're going to do. I think they keep. I
You
honestly
think
believe they
so?
keep. I do. I
So
think
you
Michael
think
Ciani has. He's the best center fielder in baseball.
Okay, I'm
You
not
just watched.
disagreeing,
Hold on.
but
You just watched the 2 best center fielders in baseball. This fan base and people who have been clamoring for Kevin Kiermaier. You have him, and he's
better. He's better than
24
Kevin
years
Kiermaier.
old. How old is Ciani? 25. I don't know. I'm terrible at age.
He's better than Kiermaier is now, but worse than he was, obviously.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. What was I saying? Oh, I don't know if they love Tommy Edman. We know this. Like, I get it's professional sports and all that, whatever. Where they're the Cardinals, we know they do things out of love. They love Tommy Edman so much. I cannot imagine them recalling him and saying he's back after missing what's it gonna be 4 months at this point, and not saying he has an everyday job.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's what they should do. I don't know the answer because I do think Tommy Edman overall is a better baseball player. But I can't imagine them doing that. I can't.
I don't know how. I've never played at this anywhere near this level, so I can't say this. I don't know what it would do to a guy like Ciani and his rhythm to put him back on the bench after he's used to playing 6 days a week. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like,
But wouldn't that only mess up his offensive rhythm? Like you would think.
I
Not his
don't know.
defense?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not even trying. Like, I'm not saying that would happen. I'm saying I don't know. I don't know if that is a factor. I don't know. I
Good
just
news
think
is
that
either way, you have a
Tommy
hell
Edmond
of a
becomes your
defensive
super
replacement.
sub. That's what I'm saying.
You can also like late in games, like you can
For
move
who? Who?
whoever either one, like Burleson, whoever's in the right field.
No,
I mean,
you're not taking Donnie or Newt out of the game late in the game for Michael Ciani. You're not.
that's true. Yeah, that's tough.
That's what
I
I'm
don't know.
saying.
Maybe
So,
you cannot take Gorman out. He's been really good.
so
I
if
don't
you're
know.
not
Yeah.
playing Ciani in center field, then honestly, you're wasting another spot on your bench because he's not going to pinch hit late. He's not going to be a defensive replacement late because you're not taking Nolan out at third to move Donnie there. You're not taking any of your infielders out. You're not taking Newt or Donnie out. Donnie might be the best left fielder in baseball right now as far as defense goes. He's one of them. He's one of the top 3. And you're not
Probably,
taking Newt out of the game. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if
I don't know
it's
then.
not
I don't know.
if Tommy Edmonds not your super sub to give Wynn a day off, to give Ciani a day off, to give potentially Nolan a DH day, whatever it is against the lefty, like then the roster creation once again is Fugazi, and you're wasting Michael Ciani sitting on the bench with a catcher who's not going to play either. That's all I'm saying.
Also, what they might do is they might say, Tommy, you're playing every day. Most days it's going to be you're a starting center fielder technically, but you're also going to be the super sub guy. And when he does that, Ciani goes to center. So maybe Tommy Evans playing every day, but he's only playing center field 3 days a week. That could be what they do, or 4 days a week.
I don't know. It's gonna be hey Ollie, and
we'll see.
You're
I don't
gonna have
know.
to be creative. I don't know either.
It's also like once again, knock on wood, saying everyone on the team is healthy.
Yeah, I just think it's gonna be a hard sell to the team, to the player.
No, it's not. They love Tommy Edman. It's not
I get it,
sell to the team.
but they have to love Michael Ciani watching what he's doing in center field every night, bro. This is the best center fielder I've seen since Jim Edmonds on as a Cardinal.
Harrison Bader was really good.
He's better. He's better in my mind
I love Harrison
defensively.
Bader. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe
Um,
I don't know. I'd have to look at the numbers. I honestly don't know. They're both really
let's
good.
talk a little bit about the All-Star break. All right. Um, I
The
think
All-Star break.
yeah, the coming up, the All-Star game, Helsley getting in. I think you could make a case that Brendan Donovan should be an All-Star. I think you could make a case that Alec Burleson should be an All-Star, and I think there's also a case to be made that Mason Wynn should be an All-Star. And I also think you're going to probably bring up Wilson. Where do you stand? And honestly, Sonny Gray, where do you stand on those guys? And where do you stand on the All-Stars? Cardinals only getting one All-Star.
It's whatever. Like all those guys that you named, I think Sonny should have been an All-Star. I really do. But other than him, I think you could make an argument that the guys that were in are more deserving. Like as much as I think Mason Wynn, you could have argued like should have been in. Ellie De La Cruz has been awesome. Trey Turner got voted in by the fans, so really nothing you can do about that. And if I'm being honest, there's another guy that should be in over him. It's Francisco Lindor has been awesome. So I as much as I love Mason, and I think he was close. He was very close. If he would have had a better last couple weeks, he might have gotten in. I can't really argue against it, even though I wish if it was even, I want Mason to get in. But also, like, if Ellie's not in there, I would say that's kind of dumb. He should be in there.
Um,
For Wilson, it's injuries, obviously. We know
yeah.
that. And who's the other one? Burley and Donnie, like, they're not gonna get any love. But also they've like Donovan's OPS, I don't know if it's high enough to get in. I don't know the other guys in. And also Brandon Nemo's a guy that probably should be in over both those guys and isn't in.
Shout out to the Deal in the Cards podcast because they put this out, and I know you've been on there many times, and Josh has been on here with you. Brendan Donovan has a higher WAR, more home runs, a higher OPS, and a higher WRC plus than Luis Ariz. Like
Who?
than Luis Ariz. Like he's better in
Who you
everything
said
except batting
Donovan?
average. Yeah,
They play different positions, so it doesn't
I
matter.
understand that, but Ariz, I mean, I get it.
No,
But
that
here's
just
where I'm
doesn't
okay.
matter.
Let me. Can we talk about the All-Star game for just a minute before we get to the rest of the
He's also
series?
yeah, but Rice is also batting 312. Like that's
He's
not
hitting
nothing.
300 now. I think that's it. I think he's down to 300. But
He's
either
batting
way,
312 as of yesterday. So I don't know
okay.
what
Well,
he's
maybe
batting now.
so. He's worse than every other category in baseball. Everyone.
He doesn't play second base.
I understand that. Neither does Brendan Donovan.
I'm saying Donovan doesn't play second base.
Well, Rides doesn't really play. I mean, I guess he does. Yeah,
That's where he's
but
been
still,
playing, or he plays first. By the way, he
my
doesn't
point
play where
is
Donovan
he's not
plays.
starting, right? He's a reserve.
Yeah, but that's not how they do it. They don't do it that
That's
way.
okay. So let's get to that. That's all. We don't spend a lot of time on this, but at some point we got to fix the All-Star game to where your reserves have to be your next best players, and let the manager be creative on where we put them. I want to say the same thing. Look, I put a tweet out the other day, got a lot of love. Thank you for all of you. That as far as I'm concerned, it's time to move on from the fan vote. And let me clarify from what I mean. All right. I'm not saying eliminate it completely, but I love that the NBA does like 50% of the fan vote matters, and the rest goes to players and league execs, which is your scouts, your everything. I wish Major League Baseball would do that. And I also wish that they would give the starting lineup some leeway. For example, the fans deserve to see Otani and Marcell Ozuna in the lineup. That's literally two of your best players.
The fans deserve to see Marcell. No one cares to watch Marcell Ozuna.
The Braves fans do. Either way, he's one of
No,
your best.
probably not.
Okay, stop. He's
Probably
one of the
don't.
best players. No matter, forget the name. He's
Gross.
one of the
I don't
best
like him.
players in baseball right now, and he's not going to
Whatever.
start the All-Star game. There's got to be
Good.
some leeway there along the way. Let's get if
That's
you need to go
karma
back
right
to
there. That's
you need to
karma.
go back to managers picking the reserves and players, whatever. There's got to be a change, but it cannot be this complete fan vote. You pointed out on Twitter earlier. Trey Turner played 40-some games, 50 games,
Yeah,
and he's your
and
starting
he's been awesome
shortstop.
in those 50 games.
No
Awesome.
doubt. I love Trey Turner. I'm not saying he shouldn't even be in the All-Star game, but let's at least give some leeway to hey, if you want to make Ellie your starter, fine. If you want to make Lindor your starter, fine. If you want to make Mason Wynn, whatever, your starter, fine. Tovar, your starter, whatever. There are a lot of deserving people, but there has to be some leeway because you know as well as I do that there are fan bases, shout out to them, but who stuff the ballots to get all their guys
Royals.
in. We've seen the Giants do it. We saw the Mariners do it with each.
Remember the Royals did it, and Kendrys Morales was starting an
100%.
All-Star game at 38 years old.
Yes, it's like things like that just need. That's not an All-Star game anymore.
No.
Okay, that's a popularity contest. I don't even like the word popularity contest because I do want to see the stars.
I do think the fans did a pretty good job this year voting wise. The Turner's the only one that I didn't love. I think Ellie should be starting the All-Star game at short. But
agreed.
But Turner's been better just in like I value 90 games played over 50 just because that's a bigger sample size. What if Turner's bad for the next 40? and then he's not bad. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think the fans honestly did a very good job. Like there weren't many that I looked at and saw that were egregious at
About the
all.
starters, right?
Yeah, I
You're
thought they
talking
did a
about,
really good
yeah,
job.
yeah.
And I think, but the thing that does bother me is like Turner's in, and he only played 50. Contreras has played 44, and Contreras has like inarguably been the best offensive catcher in the National League in the 44 games he played. Then
Better
if you're
than his
gonna like,
brother? Has he been better than his brother and
that's
everything?
better, not even
Okay.
close. Like Contreras is like legitimately like a superstar bat right now the way he's
Yeah,
played so
I
far this year.
agree.
Like if it
Christian
continues for the
Walker,
next
guys, Christian
50
Walker's
games,
not an all-star.
that's stupid. Like
I don't even know what to say.
I don't hope for an injury because I don't want anyone to get hurt. But I hope if and when there is someone that isn't able to go, whether that's personal reasons or injury, whatever, I hope he's the first to be selected.
The fans, like what I'm saying, like even the fan vote for the reserves, that's got to stop.
Who's starting? The fans
Clay
don't vote for the
Holmes,
reserves.
yeah, they do now. You have that
No, they
fan vote.
don't.
You
No,
vote for the top. Yeah, they do. They put them on the fan vote, and you vote for the reserves
no,
at the end.
no, you
Yes.
don't. No, you don't. You
Okay.
never have. You don't vote for pitchers in general. There's no pit. You can't vote for a pitcher.
I didn't say the pitchers. I meant the
They
hitters.
don't vote. They don't do that though. That's not a thing. They
I
vote. They only vote for the starters at each position.
I thought they changed it to where they took it away from the managers.
No, managers and players both select them.
Oh, okay. Well, then I
They both have a vote.
apologize.
It's similar to the NBA that way. Which I don't really have a problem with. Clay Holmes
Um,
being an all-star is
yeah,
dumb,
agreed.
but especially after Mazataki shit. We need to get into the next series, unless there's a lot more about this you want to talk about. The one thing I got two things for the All-Star game that they need to do, and we can talk about this more later because we have another podcast hopefully before the All-Star game. Um, wear your team's jerseys. That's
Yes.
one. You want to market jerseys like the one behind my father right now.
Yep.
The ugliest jersey that's ever been released. I have one too, Alex Reyes, shout out. Then have them be home run derby jerseys and still just sell them. Okay,
Yep.
so I do that. Two, stop having every player have every team have to have a player. That's stupid.
Agreed.
Like there's no fan from Oakland on like a random year that like if James Kaprelian, I don't know why I'm picking on him, but I guess I am. If he was your guy that made it, that is gonna tune in for him. That no, his family maybe only. Like they're still gonna tune in for Mike Trout and whoever else is in it. So those are my two things. Other than that, I don't know. But we do need to
The
get into the next
jersey, first of all,
series.
the jerseys is the big one.
It just I hate that. I don't like it. Yeah.
Like as a child, that was like my favorite thing was tuning in and seeing all the jerseys. Like that was awesome. Get
Yeah, I think it's
MLB,
more
get back to
like
it.
and having the argument that you have a player from every team make it because of the fan bases, and then taking away the pride of seeing your jersey on the All-Star game
Correct.
is kind of silly.
Pretty much lunacy. Also, the argument that they're trying to market better. First of all, just make the real jersey with the awesome All-Star game patch and put something else on there somewhere. People will buy that more than
Yeah,
they'll buy that
do something
stupid
like
softball jersey they
you
put
know
out.
how you know how those every year when if whatever team wins a World Series, their jerseys with the gold lettering
The
has like
gold,
it sells
yeah,
out quickly. Do like an all-star piping around the lettering, something like that.
correct. You could do
That'd be kind of
something
cool.
easily
Like I
like
would get
yeah,
one of those. Like do something
one
like that.
hundred percent, 100%. All
All
right,
right,
what do you want to get into?
we need to get to the next series.
The Royals.
Yeah. Also, before we move, yes, but also, we didn't talk much about Friday's game, which was the comeback, the Wilson homer in the ninth, and then the crazy defensive plays, and then obviously winning in the 11th inning. I thought that was the best win of the year, the grittiest win of the year. I didn't think they had any chance in hell after they went down 5-0 to win that game. I even tweeted, "LOL, you're losing the Patrick Corbin Sonny Gray start. That's a joke." They ended up coming back and winning it. That was the best win of the year, and honestly, I think it's kind of propelled them over the last 3 games because
Sure feels
they're
like
not
it.
out of anything. And also, even Saturday when they lost,
Yeah.
they were coming
There,
back and fighting. Like Lance Lynn killed him. Like he threw dirt on him and buried him. But they were gonna get back in that game. I think if Lance Lynn didn't give up any more runs.
yeah, there were a couple moments there where you thought maybe they'd get back in it. Okay, so you got Michael Waka game 1 and Alec Marsh game 2. The Royals not started off really, really hot. They've kind of just
Mhm.
been meddling along the way as far as the rest of the season has gone. Don't let Bobby Witt Jr. beat you.
He's awesome. He's so
Yes, he
good.
is.
Did they just sweep the Rockies? Is that right? I think they did.
Could be. I honestly
I
don't
don't
know.
care if they did, to be honest, because like they're the Rockies. But yeah, Bobby Wood Jr. is great. Don't The problem with him is you can't pitch around him because he's just gonna steal second. It's a double. So just try and get him out, I guess, the best you can. Don't let Here's my key to the series. Don't let the bottom of the order get on base. Because you
Yeah.
don't want Bobby Wood Jr. coming up with runners on.
Or Salvi. He seems to always kill the Cardinals.
Salvi kills everybody. I love Salvi. He's an
Yeah.
all-star too, which I think is fun.
Yep. I think what do we have? We've got Sonny in one of the games, and it's a Plante. Is that right?
Palante and Sonny.
Yep, that's what I thought. All right, yeah. There's not much to say there about the Royal. It's a 2-game series. I hate that they
We
do it.
gotta give our predictions.
I understand why they do it. I think they go 1-1.
I think they take both. They're
Okay.
playing really good baseball right now. If they win game 1, I feel really good about it because I don't even know who Alec Marsh is, and he has like a 1.4 WHIP, and we have
He's
Sonny Brown
young.
amount. Do you obviously feel
Yeah.
good about that one?
Michael Walker's going to throw a gem.
Maybe or maybe not. Like they didn't let Juan Yepez walk off on them, so maybe that voodoo's done. So maybe the
That is
former
true.
Cardinal voodoo is gone.
They do miss Reagans, and they miss Singer, and they miss Lugo. They're 3 best pitchers.
Yeah,
So
3 guys who all had arguments to be all stars, all 3 of
yeah,
them.
yeah,
And
agreed.
Lugo was an all star. Lugo's been great. So yeah, I think they. And my hitter of the series, so they're facing 2 righties. That Marsh is a righty, right?
Yes.
We've seen Nolan Gorman kind of start to get hot with base hits. I think he's going to hit a bunch of homers over
Okay.
next week. So I'm gonna go him to hit 2 homers in the series, in the 2-game series.
I'm gonna go. Burley has become my dude. I absolutely love that man, and that's
He's
going to be
great.
my guy. I think Burley can. It is. I believe Marsh is a righty as well. Correct. So you got 2 righties.
That's what I asked you, and you said yes.
I think so. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I think that
I think he is as well. I looked yesterday.
Yeah.
Hold on, I can get it real quick.
I think Reagan's is their only lefty.
Marsh is a righty, yeah,
Okay, that's what I
with
thought.
a 4.5 ERA, and
Yeah.
Sonny's ERA went up to 3.3 after last start. Eesh.
Yeah, I think it's Alec Burleson. That's my guy. That's who I'm picking.
I mean,
I just
he's
think
just so
something weird
consistent.
happens. I hope they win both. I just think something weird happens.
And there's
in
no
one of those
shame in
games.
splitting. And I wanted to, no
Yeah.
shame in that. Like, here's the thing: they've got 6 games left, right? 2 against Kansas City and 4 against Chicago this week, right?
Yeah.
They have a doubleheader on Friday, I think.
Yes, that is
4 and
correct.
2 would be great because that means you're going to the deadline. I mean, going to the All-Star break 8 games above 500. Which, if you would have told me that 2 months ago, I would have laughed in your face. That'd be great. But if they go 3-3 and go in 6 games above 500, whatever. Like they played so
Yeah.
well for 51 days, best record in NL over 51 days. The last 51 days, they are 33-18 in the last
Agreed.
51 games. That's incredible.
Yes.
So if they have a meh homestand, I wouldn't prefer that. But also, like they've kind of earned it. They're probably burnt the hell out right now. The way
A couple
that
of guys that
back
we
did.
did not talk about that I guess we probably should at some point, but we don't have to do it now. James Wood is going to be fun to watch for the next however many
He's
years,
awesome.
man.
He's really good.
What
Can't
a
play defense
swing!
right yet, but my God.
The way he just controls the strike zone at that age,
Mhm.
like he hits everything hard. He hits the ball the other way with authority. I mean, that dude is. I hope he is a dude. You've talked about it. I got into an argument with a Nats fan over it. CJ Abrams cannot play shortstop at the major league level.
He can, just not well.
He can hit though. That dude can flat rake.
He is. He'd be maybe the best second baseman in the National League if they put him there.
Yeah.
I don't know defensively, but just as a whole, no. Well, Ketel Marte, he'd be top 3. CJ Abrams is like a legitimately great leadoff hitter right now.
I agree.
And like not just a great Nationals leadoff hitter, he'd be leading off on the Dodgers probably if they didn't. You know what I mean? He'd be up in the top 3 in that order. Like that's he's been. So
I just don't know what the Nationals have in their organization that you could play it short. I don't. So that's probably why he's there. And he's young. It's not like he can't get better.
And they don't care if they lose games, right? So if he ends up doing what Bobby Witt Jr.'s done, where he's become the best defensive shortstop in baseball after being the worst, then you've got a shortstop's a hard position to find, especially one that hits the way CJ Abrams does. But he's been up for long enough to where I just don't see it.
A few other things from around the league. First off, shout out to Tink Hence and Quinn Matthews. As they will be in the Futures game.
Yep.
Is that Saturday? Sunday?
Yep. It should be Sunday.
I think it's Sunday. I think it's Sunday. So that'll be awesome. Shout out to
both. No, probably Saturday because I think the draft is Sunday.
Maybe. Either way, shout out to both of them. Quinn Matthews. I mean, we'll talk about him when we have Kyle and Kareem on because I want to get into him a lot. But what a start he's had to his professional career for Cardinals.
He's been awesome. He's already in Double-A and he got drafted last year, so that's impressive.
The drafts, like you said, starts July 14th, 16th. We'll have Kyle and Kareem on. We'll talk about that later. I just got a few things around the league, and then you can finish with anything. To give our guy D, who listens, our really good friend D Pagel, who listens all the time, has been on here before. The Guardians are 30-11 at home. I don't think enough people are talking about them. The Twins are really good, but Guardians team, bro, that team has figured it out. I said it when he got hired. I thought Stephen Vogt was the perfect guy for that. I'm not tapping myself on the shoulder. Everybody else seemed to feel the same way. But I'm so happy that the guys love him. And what you're seeing with Josh Naylor, Emmanuel Clase, Like, and honestly, they're doing it without. I mean, Tristan McKenzie's back in the minors. You've got
Yeah.
Bieber on the IL. Carrasco's at the end of the line. Like,
Yeah.
Logan Allen hasn't been good. Like, shout out to the Guardians, man.
Is there a team with a better three-headed monster in their lineup than the Guardians right now? I don't think there is.
When Mookie's healthy, it's the Dodgers, right?
Wait, I'm wrong because I think the best might be like Santander, Henderson, and Adley. Either
Yeah.
way, they have an
And when
argument.
Mookie's
Like
healthy, like,
even
yes.
Quan, Jose Ramirez, and Josh Naylor as the dynamic of the top three in orders you'll
Yeah.
find. Those
Yeah.
three are legitimately great hitters.
Yeah.
So
Very, very
that's what's
good.
doing it. They're really good. They're a really good team. I
Yeah.
didn't see it coming,
I'm
especially
pumped
off.
for
I didn't think
them.
the offense would drive them if they were good, but it has. David
Um,
Fry, by the way, awesome story that he's an all-star. Really cool.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Staying in that division, Jose Miranda just had 14 straight hits.
It was 14 it got up to.
13 straight hits. Whatever,
It was
13
12
or
or
14.
13, I think.
Yeah,
I
either
don't
way.
know. It was
No,
something
maybe
like that, but
maybe it was 12. And he got like a
I think
hit
it was
instead.
12.
Yeah. I wanted to go 14 there.
I
But
thought
either
it
way, it
was
was
12 because
12.
I saw everyone tweet about 12 and then I didn't see
Yeah.
a 13,
It
so I
was
thought it
12.
was 12.
That dude's I like him, man. I like that Twins team too. Like they got some gumption there. If Royce Lewis could just figure out how to stay healthy.
I'd be interested. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Royce Lewis, Byron Buxton, and Carlos Correa are three insanely talented people that can't stay on the field. I'd be interested to see what Tony Gwynn's longest streak of hits were in a row.
Yeah.
I wonder
I
if
don't
he
think it
had
was
more than
12.
12 or not. I don't know.
I
Corey
don't
Dickerson
know.
had 10 in a row, which is what I always
Yeah.
think of when people get to 10. That's crazy. Like it's just seeing beach balls up there and getting lucky, obviously, as well.
Other shout out, a guy who nobody ever talks about, but Kevin Pillar, 10 years of service. Like, I don't think people understand how hard that is to get 10 years of service in major league time. And that was such a
Mhm.
cool like thing that his teammates did for him. Evidently, everybody loves Kevin Pillar, which 10% of major league players get to 10 years. Like
I would have guessed
that's
lower.
yeah, I was kind of shocked that it was 10%. I mean, you're talking about a guy who was 32nd round pick from a Division II school, and he gets his. I mean, that means for those of you who don't know, that's you're fully vested. That's your pension. That's your insurance.
Hmm.
That's everything for the rest of
And you
your
get to go
life.
to every game you want to go to the rest of your life. You get a gold
Everything.
card.
So
Um,
massive shout out to Kevin Pillar.
Also, yeah, I've always been a fan of Kevin Pillar, and he also there was something that came out. I don't know that says he might retire after this year, which
I've
would
heard that.
he's having a great year, by the way. Um, I also like 10 years of service time isn't just 10. You've been in the major leagues at parts of 10 years. It's 10 years of actively playing in Major League
Correct.
Baseball.
Correct.
So
Thank
like
you
you
for
can't be
clarifying
sent
that.
down and stuff like that. That's why it's so hard, and that's why so many people
Yes.
celebrate it. Like Arenado just reached that a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And he's been in the game physics forever. So
Yep.
it's a really big accomplishment.
And
Yeah.
Vladdy Jr. just reached 5. So that
That
tells
is
you how
very
hard
impressive,
10
which I
is.
still don't understand why he did
Yeah,
that.
I know. Final thing, weirdest stat that I've seen in a while. Mike Trout has not played on the 4th of July since 2019.
Yeah, it sucks.
That
It just
sucks so
sucks.
bad, dude. I hate that.
He's also Captain America. Like he has to put that sucks.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hate it.
he's the craziest thing to me. Well, also good news, he's taking BP right now, so he
Yeah,
could be coming back
sure.
soon.
So
It
we
says
can
he's
be
of
in
an
the
act.
land of obscurity out there in fucking Anaheim.
I know, but I still want him to be on the field.
Same, same.
What was I gonna say? Oh, the thing that's crazy is how many games he's missed. Go look up his WAR compared to Bryce Harper's.
I know.
He has
I
like
know.
almost double. It's
I
almost
mean, when he
double.
plays center field, that's you're at a massive
He,
advantage. But yes, I agree.
if you're good out there, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Bryce
I'd
Harper was
like
a
to
good
next
defensive center
time we're
fielder when
on
he played center
here
field.
as we get ready for the All-Star game, which by the way, two of my favorite days of the year, Monday and Tuesday. The home run derby and the All-Star game. Love them.
You'll
But I
be
would like to
working.
talk. I'd like to talk. Yeah, but I'm gonna record. I'll watch when I get home. No worries. I would like to talk on Sunday about potential trade targets for the Cardinals. I got some
Mhm.
ideas. I know you've probably got some ideas. I got some thoughts. There's some things I'd kind of like to get into a little bit there. We haven't really talked a lot about it. We've thrown out a few names here and there, but I kind of like to dig maybe a little bit deeper into what they should do and who potentially would be a really quality fit for this team.
Yeah. There are if Mosaic is okay with being either creative or a little bit gutsy, which he hasn't done much of either of those two things in a
No,
while. And when he has, it ends up in Randy Rosarina being a Ray for 6 years. There are options out there that could make this team legitimately interesting in October.
agreed,
So we'll have a lot to
100%.
talk about.
Okay, you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, just have at
Oh,
least a 4-2 week would be so awesome for this team to go
yeah,
on. That'd be great.
agreed.
Winning 2 against the Royals would be huge. So
6 games at home. Those of you back in the 618 and the 314 and the 217, right? 636. Those are all our area codes in that area, I believe. Go see a game this week. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like. Heard maybe old Hurricane Barrel's going to head that way. We were a little bit nervous down here in the 504 about old Hurricane Barrel, but
Why are you
think
talking like that? We are
because
not
that's
that
how
type of
everybody
podcast.
pronounces it on the TV,
Okay.
bro. It's like
Okay. Well, we
they're
don't
at
have to
Cracker
do that. They're
Barrel.
from
That's what
Louisiana.
they
You're making
say.
fun of them.
I'm
Good
not.
Lord.
First of all, the people on TV are the Weather Channel, and that's how they
Okay.
pronounce it, like it's Cracker Barrel.
Okay. Okay. Enough.
Like
Enough.
I'm going to
That's
get a
enough.
hash
I'm
brown
cutting you
casserole.
off. I'm cutting you
Well,
off.
don't do that. That's not polite. But either way, go see some Cardinal baseball. Hopefully 4-4, 3-3 would be great. But
Four
we're
and
not gonna
two.
do one. We're not gonna do one right after the Royals, but we will be back on Sunday, going into the All-Star break. All right. So we
What
will
if they
talk to you all
sweep
soon.
them on two walk-offs? Then we have to do one.
All right. We will talk to you all on Sunday. Have a fantastic weekend. Go Cards.